And we are back for round 3 of Eternal Tournament Series coverage. I am Sir Rhino, and joining me in the booth today, still here, is Mark. How are we doing?
Yeah, I haven't run away yet. Won't promise that, by the time we get to once we get to the top 8, but we'll see. We're around for right now.
It all depends on how much practice we have to deal with when we get there, right?
Yes.
All right. So anyway, we've got a kind of old school, I would say, matchup in store for us today, or at least this round. We've got Tobboo on Burn Queen, and on the other end we've got BobertJoe on Combray aggro / Combray midrange, aggressively leaning Combray at the very least.
Yeah, and I was definitely making that joke. The deck lists look absolutely nothing like they used to, but this seriously is a matchup that we would have seen last December, right?
Sure. Yeah, this, I think between the two of them, are there any set 2 cards in the main deck? I see 0 just looking over the list. So yeah, it is old is as old does. Combray and Stonescar are just, they've had the tools forever, and they are here and ready to throw down. They are both 2-0. No surprise bringing these refined lists. Although notable that Burn Queen, I guess, did just get nerfed in this last patch. If you were playing Flame Blast, that card's a little bit worse. We see 0 copies of it in Tobboo's list here. I don't know if they were playing it beforehand, but they're not playing it right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not so down on the Flame Blast. You lose 1 point of damage, which definitely. But I mean, like a 1x burn spell, I think is still reasonable.
Yeah, it's still reasonable, but maybe now it's just where before it was kind of competing with Soulfire Drake, another triple fire card. Now Soulfire Drake might just edge it out. Again, not quite sure what Tobboo's list looked like. It may have always been playing Soulfire Drake over Flame Blast, but either way, there is certainly 3 Soulfire Drakes in Tobboo's big old Burn Queen list. This is a big version of Burn. The Impending Dooms are there as well, so you've got some top end fat to go with your low end Grenadin Drone kind of push through stuff. This isn't Rally Queen. This is Burn.
Yeah, for certain. 1 assembly line. How do you feel?
It gives you 3 bodies, right? And I guess they just wanted something else to do on 3 other than Champion of Chaos. So that's what they're going with there. On the other end, we've got BobertJoe on Combray, aggressive Combray, right? The Awakened Student version. No other 2 drops though, other than Desert Marshal. So it's more about leveraging Initiate to get to your 3 and 4 drops quickly, i.e. your Sandstorm Titans, your Seraphs, your Valkyrie Enforcer, your Disciple. Go wide and have your Obelisk and Stand Togethers do a lot of work.
Yeah.
So, who do you like in this matchup, I guess is the question. We've seen this before, so what do you think?
Yeah. I like Combray aggro normally, especially with never mind. Yeah. The Combray healers on the board.
There's 2 very big things here. 1, Combray healers in the board. 2, 0 copies of Protect from BobertJoe.
Yeah.
0.
Yeah, so, I opened my mouth a little soon. That being said, I still think that like Bobert's going to be able to put up a very reasonable fight. Whereas, Tobboo, like Burn Queen is Burn Queen, right? Like if Burn Queen curves correctly, there's not a lot of decks that are going to be able to stand up to it. So we're really talking about both decks kind of like faltering a little bit. I still, after looking at the deck list main board, I'll have to give Burn Queen the edge. Post board though, I might go a little bit more back to Bobbert just because of the Sandstorm Titans and the Combray healers. That's going to do a lot to really gum up the board and take away the lot of advantage that Tobboo has. And Bobbert also has 8 silence effects, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of Bobbert's like large impact units are gonna get they're gonna get stalled on the ground. So
yeah. So I would say traditionally I think Cambrai is advantage depending on how you build it, but in this version of Bobart's take on it, I think it's a bit closer than we traditionally see, especially because Tobboo's going low and wide with the this Grenin drone as we see the action get underway here.
Yeah. So let's see. Well, Bobbert coming out with that Initiate of the Sands. Not the worst start to have for certain.
Yeah, both players making some really interesting choices as far as optional or non-stock cards are concerned. Tobboo has no rapid shots main deck and just one in the sideboard, opting to just use removal as removal. 3 Annihilate, 3 Suffocate, 4 Torch, 4 Obliterate is the removal suite here, plus the Varus Favors to help with curving. So rapid shot can often be a nightmare for time-based decks. And in this case, Bobbert doesn't have to worry about that. Does have to worry about things like Madness. Cabal count is coming out of this. To get that.
How do you like Tobboo not getting rid of that Initiate of the Sands? I think I actually might have fired off that Torch on my turn in order to go ahead and get rid of it, right? Because like this is what's going to allow he's going to end up having to do it this turn too, so that way a Obelisk doesn't come down. It seems dangerous to let Bobbert ramp.
Yeah. It's also a question of whether or not you use Torch or Suffocate.
Correct. Yeah.
Again, Bobbert doesn't have the Cambrai Healer's main, so really the Suffocate target is Seraph. That's kind of it. The rest of the stuff dies to both Torch and Suffocate, so like the Torch could have been useful to go face. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's killing everything here as a Valkyrie Enforcer comes down, silences a Grenadin drone, and Tobboo not being able to play assembly line here, but has control of the board for now. We'll see what 4-drop Bobbert or a Seraph.
Yeah, that's why like I actually don't know if I would have suffocated last turn. Yeah. I kind of like just playing assembly line and passing, and then turn 4 we get to play our Bandit Queen.
So now Bobbert has his no assembly required Sandstorm Titan and Seraph down, and Tobboo's going to go into try and kill you mode. Now, notably here, again, as we mentioned, Tobboo's playing dragons instead of Flame Blast. Either way, it doesn't actually matter because he doesn't have a third fire source. There's an Obelisk. Bobbert gets to start putting a clock on the other end, and we'll see what Tobboo can draw to get this last point of reach in. No Torch.
So he'll get in 3 points of damage here, and then as long as Bobbert doesn't play another unit, I think he's got it, but the likelihood of Bobbert not playing another unit seems very low.
Yeah, we know Bobbert at least has a Finest Hour in hand. We saw a pause on one, and again, Bobbert not playing Protect, and also just was stuck on. So, Bandit Queen, though.
There we go.
That's a good one. The namesake pulling through here.
Let's see if Bobbert's got anything else. If he needs to have something to either block
Desert
or
Marshal
remove here.
Yeah,
nothing.
That'll do it. Whew.
Wow.
Tobboo just sneaking that one out. Bandit Queen is a lot of damage when you put both Grenadin drone and assembly line on the board, and we see it right there.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to Tobboo there.
Yeah.
What are we gonna see? What are we gonna see on the board? Right. I have to imagine those Cambrai healers are coming in for Bobbert.
Mm-hmm.
What are we gonna see from Tobboo though? I can definitely see the rapid shot coming in, and that's one thing I did want to comment on. I'm a big fan of not having rapid shot in your main. I do not like the card. I think it ends up being dead in your hand way more than if it was literally any other card. But that's personal preference and take.
Yeah, see, I'm on the other end where I like it a lot more than things like Annihilate because it's dead less often. Because even in matchups where you have 0 Annihilate or targets, those rapid shots can still act as removal or act as. But
for sure,
philosophical.
That might come down to play style. Whereas I would rather because if I have the rapid shots in my hand, I'm going to try to use them for removal instead of using them as burn. So I
kill people.
Yeah, which is fair. Which is I should probably just attack, but What can you do?
The other interesting card here is Madness. That can be a powerful tool against like mid-range time decks, but because BobertJoe's playing like a bunch of other units that make like he's playing things like Marison's Disciple, and the Amber Acolytes might be coming out. They don't know yet, but like he'll usually have extra units lying around. That it's not the biggest swing in the world when you Madness, but it's still a pretty powerful card here if you get a Reality Warden or a Sandstorm Titan out of the way for one turn, and it's attacking board.
And if nothing else, it has the high potential. It removes a blocker and potentially could act as a removal spell, right?
Right.
So yeah. I think it's fine, and we are seeing Tobboo bring in the 3 copies of that. I'm looking to see.
Well, right now Tobboo's sitting on 85 cards, so he's still figuring out if he wants the Madness package, and there it goes. Like I said, I think it's a little too cute for this match.
Look at you with your reading and your numbers.
Yeah.
We don't. Again, it's completely useless things for me.
Yeah, the Impending Dooms also come out in favor of things like Cabal Countess, which is much more difficult for a Cambrai deck to block unless they silence it. So we'll see how that works out for Tobboo. We didn't see BobertJoe's exact sideboarding, but again, I think we can venture a guess that at least Cambrai healers coming in, maybe Reality Wardens. I like those actually a little bit more than even something like Predatory Carnosaur, just because they come down sooner and are immune to Obliterate, big and nasty. Copperhall Elite also excellent here. It's just a hard card.
Yeah. Question at that point is, what are you taking out? Exactly. I think the Predatory Connoisseurs are fine to come out. They're a little bit too expensive, and they're going to trade with something that's relatively small most of the time.
And here we have some good openers from both players. BobertJoe had the play, gets the turn to Awakened Student. Tobboo has the torch for it, and also has a Pyro Knight to follow up. So good initial pressure for Tobboo, but already sitting on 5 power total between in play and in hand. So Tobboo really doesn't want to see much more of that going forward.
If we look over at Bobbert, though, Bobbert doesn't have any power in their hand. They just drew one for the turn, for sure. But unless they draw another one sometime soon, Bobbert's not going to be doing a whole lot.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. But if Bobbert ever does find a power, he's got plenty of plays. In the meantime, Tobboo finds some action. Oni Ronin comes down, more power, but it's in the form of Vera's favorite least, so it can take out something. And Bobbert whiffs on power, but finds a Cambrai healer and turns this Desert Marshal into something that can't be Vera's.
Yeah, and Tobboo flooding a little bit here. Oh, there we go. There we go. There's Bobbert. We're going to see all these Copperhall elites coming down.
Yeah, Bobbert's got the ground locked up, so now it's really on Tobboo to find the Drakes to take over in the sky. Notably, the Impending Dooms did get sided out, so it's really kind of Tobboo. Yeah. I don't think can win on the ground at this point in the game. I mean, Pyro Knight can get big at some point. He's deciding if he even wants to play Pyro Knight this turn because you can just play it and activate it next turn. But he may just want to be able to activate and swing with it.
Yeah, which is definitely fair. So you're 100% confident all the Impending Dooms are out?
I saw Tobboo take all, so yeah.
Okay.
99%. Maybe I hallucinated. That's a 1% chance, but I saw the Impending Dooms come out for like Cabal Countesses.
I am personally going to assume that you were just hallucinating wildly.
All right. But regardless, the Copperhall elites crashing in here. BobertJoe finds another Justice Source, so hey, that's useful. Any power at this point gets him 1 power closer to activating Seraph, and anything that's not power is something that he'll likely be able to cast unless he kept in some number of power.
Yeah, and also getting up to the 8 power important too for Obelisks should Bobbert draw them. I don't think he would have taken them out.
No, you can because your units are already naturally bigger, and it's a 4-drop that doesn't really have any impact. So I've taken it out in this matchup before, for sure. It all depends on, again, like what are you taking it out for. But I would, if you wanted to keep in the Carnosaurs or something like that, I could understand just swapping out the Obelisks for the Reality Wardens instead.
Yeah, but Bobbert is Bobbert's gumming up this board quite well, and now he's got a flyer. So
Yeah.
actually, how do you feel about making the 3-3 overwhelm versus the 2-2 flyer with that first?
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that. I think maybe Bobbert wanted it just to make the double blocks on the Pyro Knight a little bit more appealing, something like that. But I feel like if this Pyro Knight attacks, you're blocking with like 100 things anyways to play around, Annihilate and Torch and stuff. But Bobbert decides to not do that, and Annihilate will do its thing.
Yeah, especially with the Annihilates, the rapid shots, the torches. Yeah, I very, very kind of surprised there.
Yeah, regardless, though, Bobbert finds an Amber Acolyte here, gets a hold up, stand together, so such shenanigans won't get him this time around, and will bolster the board rather nicely here. Of course, this Cabal count is threatening to become 6-1 quick draw, unless Tobboo wants to slam the Queen down.
It'll definitely force some blocks and get some damage through thanks to the Pyro Knight, but it's not going to kill this. It's not going to kill the Seraph. It's not going to kill the flyer, and I guess you wouldn't be dead. I don't know. It's an interesting line for sure because Bobbert's only got 2 cards in hand, and it forces him to make a bunch of chump blocks.
Yeah, Queen here will give all of your units quick draw, whereas activating Countess only gives Countess quick draw. Looks like Tobboo's opting to go with the activation first, swing in, and stand together will make BobertJoe's have quite the imposing board here.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to throw 3 units in front of the Countess.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that BobertJoe is choosing to give up Seraph here when he could simply just like triple block the Countess.
Yeah, I would
you just made a block where you didn't block with this Combre healer. Again, maybe playing around some things here, but I don't know about giving up Seraph when you're already on 6 power and it's such a large unit.
Yeah, like my guess is that he just thinks that the game is just not going to get to the point where he's ever going to be activating Seraph.
Sure.
And I guess he valued being able to soak up more of that damage.
The extra body is more important than the biggest body. Is the philosophy he's taking here, and it does give him a very nice crackback. But Tobboo gets to also crackback with Bandit Queen, but that Sandstorm Titan's a big draw here.
Yes, it is.
And also Bobbert presenting lethal here. So Tobboo will have to chump somewhere. Opts to double chump, but the flyer's still lethal anyways. Oh, right, because of the
he had to
the instigator. Jump. Yeah, instigator math. Yeah, God, it's been a while since I've done a lot of instigator math, except in the puzzles, I guess. So yeah, Tobboo's in rough shape here.
Yeah. All right, Tobboo's gonna pack it in, but that's gonna give us a 3rd game.
Yeah, we get a game.
Complain about this.
So we'll see if the players change up anything else post board for this 3rd and final game. Maybe Tobboo didn't like the plan, but again, this is a deck that both players are rather familiar with. I think the sideboarding choices they're happy with, and yeah, it looks like we're going back here.
And the matchup's a pretty common matchup. Again, to your earlier points, there are a few interesting choices that both players have made in terms of building their decks. But at this point, now that both decks are sideboarded, this is good old historical knowledge for everybody. I mean, like almost a hallmark match for Eternal.
I've certainly been on. I've certainly played this match before in the ETS, so yeah, we've seen this. And yep, Initiate gets torched, and so it goes.
So, which is interesting, right? Because when we saw Tobboo have that option earlier, they neglected not to take it. I think a lesson might have been learned there.
Yeah. So let's see here. Bobbert chooses to play undepleted power so he can hold up Finest Hour here when he goes to play this Desert Marshal. So cool play there, and yeah, just gets to play the banner undepleted there. But still, Tobboo's got the biggest unit on the board. We'll see what that means going forward.
Still can't attack. Well, I guess he can attack.
He's
with
got a
Annihilate.
handful of removal. He can definitely.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He may not. He may not. I don't know. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we'll see where we're going. All right, there's the finest hour. Actually, so this.
Yeah.
This is actually the reason why you don't want to attack. I'm guessing. But
yeah, this is a problem. You can't annihilate a desert marshal. So now Tobboo will lose his 3/3. I was thinking he would maybe have used suffocate pre-combat there, but
yeah,
I guess instead was banking on the other 2/1.
I would have liked that too, especially since we've already seen Stand Together. Excuse me. So we've seen Stand Together post board. Tobboo knows that there's an obelisk there, so just whittling down the amount of units that Bobbert has access to just seems like a stronger line, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, Tobboo opting to not use an Annihilate on a very lowly Amber Acolyte, but I would have thought about it with just how much removal you already are packing in hand. This might be a game where if Tobboo ends up dying, it'll be because he has removal still in hand. Bobbert holding on to this Stand Together, trying to get a little more value out of the things it's protecting rather than just 2/1s, and gets rewarded by finding maybe the best draw here.
Yeah, and still being able to hold up Stand Together thanks to playing the power. It's gonna be big things, and you're gonna go for this Suffocate here. You're gonna get blown out by that Stand Together. Still not gonna be able to actually attack in, and that's also gonna put it out of Obliterate range, right? Oh no, it puts it right at a 6. So never mind.
Puts it in Obliterate range, but you still get to hold on to your finest. That'll actually be an interesting thing to see here. If if Tobboo pulls the trigger on this Suffocate, BobertJoe could use Finest Hour instead of Stand Together to save it. It'll be interesting to see if Bobbert values the reach of Finest Hour, or Stand Together is tricky to hold up, so he might want to get it out.
I would go with the Stand Together just because you have the 3 power that's required. That way you can stop holding up 3 power later on, and you don't have any other units in your hand. And getting +3/+3, negating an enemy's spell. It seems worth it, right?
Yeah. So Bobbert just draws more power, plays out the board, and does nothing, just holding on to the Stand Together, really wanted to protect something great. Tobboo finds that 5th power, so now these Obliterates get unlocked in addition to all these Annihilates and Suffocates. But I think he's probably figured out that his opponent has a Stand Together, and he's just trying to figure out what's the best way to navigate this issue.
Yeah, and I don't... Do you lead with... I think you have to lead with Obliterate, right?
You could lead with Suffocate so you can hold up Annihilate, or lead with Annihilate, stuff like that. But Tobboo opts to do nothing.
Yeah,
I don't know what moment to use this stuff. Is waiting.
Guess, the problem card I'm seeing here, right, is the Combrei Healer. Obviously, the Enlightened Student, or Awakened Student, is going to eventually be a pretty big issue as well. But if you lead with Obliterate, right, that forces either the Finest Hour or the Stand Together, and then you would be able to Suffocate if they did the Finest Hour. Well, if they did the Stand Together. Yeah.
Suffocate also forces the same thing, Finest Hour or Stand, but it costs less.
Sure.
That would be the thought. But this is a tough spot for Tobboo. Just doesn't have a great board, and it seems like he's figured out his opponent's got some tricks in hand. And he's got all this removal, but here comes the Suffocate finally coming out onto the 3/3. And we'll see, Bobbert uses the Stand Together in response. Now, Tobboo could Annihilate, more likely thinking, I want to Obliterate this. We'll see. Yeah,
but again, Tobboo could think that all the pauses have just been the Stand Together. So reasonable, very reasonable.
He'll see another pause here with this Annihilate on the stack and find out, oh, my opponent either has another Stand Together, but they didn't use it there, so probably a Finest Hour now. Notably, the Aegis is still on Awakened Student because it became a 4/4, so Suffocate couldn't actually affect it.
Correct. So do you start jump blocking here.
Oh, jeez.
You're on a 2-turn clock.
How are you winning the game if you chump? It's like
Yeah.
And your opponent has your opponent has a finest hour, so it's not like you can force the finest hour out by blocking with the Bandit Queen. I guess that's like fine thing to do. I don't think you want to double block though. This
is a tough little pickle. Pickle from Tobboo.
Yep, so Tobboo forces out the finest hour there by blocking with Bandit Queen, but these obliterates, they do 6 damage, but that's not killing anything on the board, and it's not killing your opponent's face, so it looks like Tobboo's going to scoop it up here.
It does kill the Conbray healer that he displayed. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, that is on the board now, but there is no board as, Tobboo concedes to BobertJoe, and BobertJoe takes it in this best of 3, just the big bodies and the stand together is doing enough. Who needs protect when you always have room for stand together?
I agree.
Yeah,
there we go. Seems just cut all protects from every deck now. I think we confirmed protect no longer a good card.
Sure. But yeah, so the traditional favorite still pulling it out there. Maybe Burn Queen just needed some Flame Blast to finish that one. That might have been the problem.
Yeah, but I think with that, I don't believe we're actually going to have a backup match. I think we're going to be cutting over to some VODs. So I guess anything that you'd like to add before we do that, Rhino?
No, I think I'm just ready for more action. So we'll cut to a break, have some sweet videos on demand. I think we'll get some highlights from previous weeks of the ETS, and then we'll get to more live action round 4 coming up real soon.